This 23-year-old woman is behind bars facing a murder charge after police say road rage led to a deadly shooting that's happening on the city's west side. And thanks for joining us first at 4. I'm Rafael Sanchez.
And I'm Aaliyah Blackburn. It's a story we first brought you as breaking news Friday evening. Fox 59's Jesse Wells explains how police say a traffic dispute turned deadly.
According to court records, the victim was stopped behind the suspect at a red light here on 38th Street. After the light turned green and the suspect didn't move, the victim
of 21-year-old Kentrell Settles.
He's loved by so many people, and there's so many people that's going to miss him, and such a precious life was taken for no reason.
Police were called around 2 p.m. Friday to a neighborhood near 38th and Georgetown and found the victim bleeding in the driver's seat. The young man died shortly after being rushed to the hospital.
He didn't do anything wrong, and for it to still happen, I mean, it troubles you.
It's beyond senseless. The victim in this case honks his horn and he ends up losing his life.
This affidavit claims 23-year-old Deborah Benefiel got mad that the victim honked his horn, so she followed him and fired a shot into his car.
The allegation is she couldn't keep her cool at a traffic light.
This is just sad and disappointing that we're seeing this in our society and our culture, where people think it's okay to pick up a firearm and take an action like this and taking one's life.
IMPD officers quickly used license plate readers to track down the suspect's SUV, leading to her arrest for murder and criminal recklessness just a few hours after the shooting.
I'm a huge believer in the license plate readers. It has been a game changer.
Both police and prosecutors hope the case sends a simple message to drivers everywhere.
We have to be patient. We have to be calm.
So it's just a good reminder to everybody to not only keep your cool on the road, and if someone honks their horn, it's not the end of the world, and it should not ever result in gun violence, but those are the allegations here.
After being arrested, the suspect refused to talk to police. She was identified as the shooter by the victim's girlfriend, who was in the car when the shooting took place.
Finally, before the shooting, the suspect did not have any criminal history. She's now being held without bond pending trial. Jesse Wells, Fox 59 News.
Much love, family. What could make a 23-year-old white woman pull a trigger on a 21-year-old black man over a simple honk at a red light? They're calling it road rage. I call it something far darker. Another moment where hatred hides behind the word anger. What really happened in those few seconds that turned a traffic stop into cold-blooded murder? Watch closely. This story isn't just about a horn. It's about what that horn revealed. Now, before we move to the next part, I want you to really think about what you just watched. That 23-year-old woman sat there at the light, calm, still, and when that young brother tapped his horn, a simple beep beep that all of us have done 1,000 times, something inside her snapped. He didn't threaten her, didn't curse her, didn't chase her, he just honked. A sound that should have meant, hey, the light's green. But to her, it became, how dare you? You can almost picture it, the pride, the rage, the entitlement boiling under the surface. She refused to move, so he went around her, probably thinking nothing of it. But in her mind, that moment turned into a mission.
Murder and criminal recklessness charges are filed in a deadly road rage shooting in Indianapolis. Prosecutors say this is the kind of violence that police are seeing far too often. News 8's Malia Van Ostrand reports. Malia.
Prosecutor Muir says that a driver became so mad after being honked at a green light that they followed another driver before opening fire.
This is 23-year-old Deborah Benefiel, who was behind the wheel when prosecutors alleged that she followed the driver who honked at her, yelled and made gestures at him before pulling out a gun and shooting into his car, hitting him in the chest. The victim, 21-year-old Kentrell Settles, later died at the hospital.
To me, this case just illustrates the challenge that we face. The person that we've charged with murder, this is her very first arrest. Her very first charge is going to be for murder.
The incident happened around 2 p.m. on October 17th at the area of West 38th Street and Georgetown Road. The victim was driving a gold Chevy Malibu. A witness described what he saw.
The driver was driving like very erratically, and but there was somebody else with a driver, like a lady. She was yelling, she was screaming, she was on a phone with the police, I guess. And after that, they just parked right there, and the police came right away.
After After firing her gun, Benefiel drove her car away, but the passenger in the victim's car was able to provide police with a description. She was arrested the same day. As Officer Drew Brown sees it, surveillance technology played a huge factor in providing evidence for the case.
They used automatic license plate readers, as we mentioned, and just using various investigative techniques, these officers were able to put their skill sets together to identify a suspect and make a safe apprehension of that suspect and hold them accountable.
Benefiel could face between 45 to 65 years for her murder charge. Mears says this case of road rage is a little more unique than others.
That's not typically how these cases progress. Usually you see more of an interaction. Usually you see multiple steps that kind of lead up or escalate to the point where gun violence is being used. That's not the allegation here at all.
And continue doing our part to drive down violence in the community, to hold those that are inflicting this sort of damage on families. We as a community have to look inward and do better.
Mears hopes this case serves as a reminder to think before you act and to remember there are much better ways to handle conflict than possibly taking a life. In studio, I'm Malia Van Ostrand for Wish TV.
She couldn't let that black man disrespect her. So she followed him, hunted him down over a sound that lasted less than a second. And you know what's crazy? The police officer in that report talking about patience and self-control, I couldn't help but pause right there. He said it's disappointing when people pick up a gun and cause pain to families. And I thought, really? Coming from law enforcement? The same system that's pulled the trigger on black men and women without hesitation? The same officers that turned protect and serve into fear and fire? Let's be real. We've seen too many moments where patience wasn't even on the table. Then look at her, eyes cold, unbothered, no remorse. Evil doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just stares. And already, before the dust even settles, they're polishing her story. She's never been in trouble before. This isn't who she is. You know what that is. The soft landing only whiteness gets. The quiet rewriting of a killer into a confused young woman. But don't take my word for it. In this next report, you'll hear how far she went, how she followed that car, chased them, and fired that single deadly shot that took a young man's life for absolutely nothing. Listen closely. Now you heard that eyewitness. Calm, straightforward, just telling what he saw. The driver moving erratically, the girlfriend in panic, probably on the phone with police trying to describe what was happening. Imagine that moment. A normal afternoon turns into chaos, her voice shaking, trying to give details as the car behind them closes in. Then the sound of a gunshot. One bullet that shattered not just a window, but 2 families forever. And the shooter? She didn't stop, didn't check, didn't care, just drove away, as if she'd swatted a fly instead of ending a man's life. And here comes that familiar line again. She's never been in trouble before. You notice how quick they are to clean her image? They're already rewriting the story before the ink on the report even dries. Because somehow her lack of a record is supposed to make the act less violent, less hateful, less intentional. But tell me, what does a clean record matter when the blood on your hands is still fresh? Evil doesn't need a resume. Some of the darkest acts in history came from people who had never been in trouble before the day they decided someone else's life didn't matter. Then there's that officer again. Same tone, same message, talking about patience, community, and the need to do better. But it always sounds hollow coming from the very institutions that have built their power on impatience, aggression, and domination. How can you preach calm when your own badge has become a symbol of fear for so many? It's almost insulting to hear those words after so many black men and women have been buried under the same narrative. And you know, this isn't one of those police brutality cases. Not this time. But the energy feels familiar, doesn't it? The same imbalance. The same quick defense for the aggressor and silence for the victim. They always say, we have to look inside ourselves as a community. But they never include themselves in that community. Accountability never seems to stretch far enough to reach a badge or a bench.
Accused of a fatal road rage shooting appeared before a judge for the first time today. 23-year-old Deborah Benefiel walked into court this morning, as you see right there, charged with murder. Police tell us this whole thing began when 21-year-old Kentrell Settles and his girlfriend were in a car waiting to turn at 38th and Georgetown. The light turned green, but Benefiel, who was in the car in front, didn't go. So police say the Settles, he honked his horn and drove around the car. Investigators say Benefiel followed the couple, and they say she shot through their back window, hitting Settles. He died at the hospital.
This was literally just a simple honk of the horn between two people who didn't know each other, a seemingly insignificant incident that happens every day in our community, only this time someone lost their life.
In court today, Benefiel was given a no-contact order against Settles' girlfriend and was not granted bond due to the murder charge. Benefiel did say she had a meeting today to hire an attorney.
Now, after all that, this 23-year-old woman finally appears in court. No tears, no fear, no remorse. Just that same blank, cold stare. Like she's detached from what she's done. Like life means nothing when it's not her own. And that look right there, that's the face of what's been justified and excused for generations. You'll see her walk into court like she's walking into an interview, not a murder hearing. Watch her body language, her eyes, her calm. It says everything. Let's roll it. And there she is in court. Calm, cold, almost proud. No remorse, no emotion. Like taking a man's life meant nothing. And for what? A horn? No, it wasn't about a horn. It was about who pressed it. A young black man. That alone, to her, was enough to chase, confront, and kill. They'll call it road rage, but we know better. This was racial rage and hate wearing the mask of anger. Rest in peace to that brother. Gone for nothing but being who he was. And still, the world will say, she just lost control, while we know the truth. She acted with intent, with the same coldness that has hunted our people for generations. That healing starts with us, with knowing who we are and standing firm against the evil around us. Because today, being black means your existence can trigger fear, hate, or violence, whether from police, neighbors, or a stranger at a red light. But even through all that, we are not broken. We are chosen, and we must keep pushing, praying, and protecting each other. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching, liking, and sharing. Much love to you all. Stay aware, stay safe, and stay blessed.